1929, Agatha Christie introduced another of the great literary detectives, Hercule Poirot.
Your passkey.
Check.
Dare touch nothing. Laissez-moi bien qu'il y ait the Greek doctor.
In the dining car, monsieur.
Fetch them at once.
Like Arthur Conan Doyle and his Sherlock Holmes, Christie introduced her crime solver with her very first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. It was written during World War I, and Poirot was a Belgian refugee in Britain who'd been forced to leave his home country following Germany's invasion.
In the early winter of 14, the king paid his first visit to the Western Front. With the Prince of Wales, he met King Albert of the Belgian, whose epic stand against the German onrush a few months before had electrified the whole world.
Christie herself had worked for the Red Cross during the war and had helped numerous Belgian soldiers. Her hometown of Torquay had also seen numerous Belgian refugees arrive, and Christie had all she needed for her enduring literary character. He would appear in 33 novels and many more short stories and plays over the decades, with his most memorable stories taking place in exotic locations: Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. One of the most appreciated film adaptations was a 1974 star-studded affair which saw Albert Finney taking on the famous Hercule Poirot.
Mr. Ratchet has been frontally stabbed 10, 11, 12 times.
Oh dear. I'm told if you must go whoop whoop, please go whoop whoop, not to windward but to leeward and prepare.
There is something in the pocket.
Permit me. His watch.
The time of death. I can definitely say that death occurred between midnight and 2 in the morning.
A good fit. I myself heard him cry out and ring for the conductor at 20 minutes to 1. He arrived, he apologized and said he had been having a cauchemar. Nightmare. Then I heard him use his wash basin. That is the last thing known.
Christie was at the heart of the golden age of detective fiction, where numerous writers who specialized in murder mysteries found great success. They included G.K. Chesterton and his detective priest, Father Brown, and Dorothy L. Sayers and her gentleman sleuth, Lord Peter Wimsey. But Christie was the undoubted queen of the castle, and later in her career she would publish the best-selling murder mystery of all time, And Then There Were None, where 10 strangers are invited to an island off the Devon coast where they're all accused of having committed terrible crimes. Like most of Christie's work, it's seen numerous adaptations, starting in 1945 with a film version directed by René Clair.
Why do you want to leave, my friend? Why don't we get to the bottom of this mystery? It's wonderful. Really?
Our time of life, sir. We've no desire for thrills, as you call them.
Your legal mind has lost its taste for adventure. I am all for crime, Your Honor. May I propose a toast? Here is to crime.
Perfectly disgusting.
Huh? What'd you say? It's not moving. Just plain drunk. Just plain dead.
In the same year as Agatha Christie, Christie's first novel, another writer, W.R. Burnett, changed the landscape of crime fiction with his story of the gangster Cesar Rico Bandello, or Little Caesar. Burnett found his inspiration for his career in crime fiction whilst working at a seedy Chicago hotel, where he often came into contact with real-life figures in organized crime. His first novel was adapted for the screen just 2 years after publication, and is now seen as the first of a whole new genre, the American gangster film. Edward G. Robinson became an overnight sensation for his performance as Little Caesar.
There he is. That's Rico, right? Put it in there. Ready to give up, Rico? You haven't got a chance.
You want me, you'll have to come and get me.
You better be a nice boy, Rico, and come out.
You heard me, if you want me, you'll have to come and get me.
I'll be with you in a minute. This is your last chance, Rico. Are you coming out or do you want to be carried out?
At the same time as W.R. Burnett was making waves, another writer, Morris Coons, who wrote under the pen name Armitage Trail, was also bringing Chicago gangsters into his stories. However, in his case, it was the infamous figure of the Prohibition period, Al Capone.
A gangster named Al Capone ruled as undisputed boss of the Chicago underworld.
Capone was nicknamed Scarface in real life, and Armitage Trail had the perfect title for another publishing hit that quickly hit the big screen when Howard Hawks took on directing duties.
Then where do you think you're going? To the north side, like I always knew someday. You can't do that. What do you mean can't? Who's stopping me? I am. I'm giving you orders for the last time. There's only one thing that gets orders and gets orders. And this is it. That's how I got the south side for you, and that's how I'm going to get the north side for you. Some little typewriter, right? I'm going to write my name all over the town with it. Big letters. Hey, stop him, somebody. Get out of my way, Johnny. I'm going to spit. Come on, fella.
Hey, Tony, take this along in case that bean shooter doesn't work.
Okay.
Scarface was highly controversial when it was released in cinemas and would be one of the films that led to the Hays Production Code of 1934. But at the same time, it was largely well received critically and is now seen as one of the most influential gangster films ever made. Armitage Trail, though, died of a heart attack at the age of just 28, not long after his novel's publication. It would be his friend W.R. Burnett who wrote the screenplay for the first film adaptation, further establishing him as both a popular novelist and screenwriter in the newly popular gangster genre. Burnett would then go on to form a partnership with director John Huston, bringing two of the author's novels about the lives of criminals to the screen, The Asphalt Jungle and High Sierra.
It's getting kind of noisy, so I've been waiting over an hour.
I've been waiting too, over 8 years. And the park's down there, ain't it?
Yeah, the park. Say, Earl, you feeling all right?
I will be. As soon as I make sure that grass is still green and trees are still growing.
At the same time as W.R. Burnett and Armitage Trail were delving into the gritty details of criminal life, the Belgian author Georges Simenon was writing stories from the other side of the law. In 1931, he published his first novel, Pierre il Letone, which featured his most famous creation, Inspector Jules Maigret, often dubbed the Sherlock Holmes of France. Like Holmes, he smokes a pipe, but unlike his British counterpart, he relies more on his intuition and understanding of how human beings acted, rather than pure deductive reasoning. The inspector knew the mentality of malefactors, criminals, and crooks. He knew that you always find some kind of passion at the root of it. Despite their different approaches, both detectives have proved immensely popular, and Maigret would go on to feature in an astonishing 84 novels. Simenon was one of the most prolific authors in literary history. The most famous film adaptations saw French superstar Jean Gabin take on the gruff detective in a series of 3 films, beginning with Maigret Sets a Trap.
Il agit par crise et les crises se rapprochent. Si on attend, on sera l'alerte quotidienne. Alors l'enquête, la routine, tu comprends, maintenant c'est la chasse au tigre.
Vous connaissez le principe. On attache une chèvre à un piquet et on attend. Là, vous êtes les chèvres.
On nous a choisis pour la ressemblance.
Dans un certain sens, oui. Votre ressemblance avec les victimes. Elles étaient toutes les 4 brunes, bien en chair et pas très grandes. C'est exactement le type de femme qui doit avoir envie de tuer.